I want to welcome all of you to our September Wine Club selections video. We hope everyone is staying safe out there and maybe being able to come back to the winery a little bit. We are open here at the winery and with plenty of room to socially distance and spread out. So we hope you'll be able to come and make a trip soon. And we're going to take it on a case-by-case basis. For now, we unfortunately can't do a true pickup party here at the winery, but we're hopefully able to get back in December to be able to do that for you guys. So in the meantime, we have our 3 selections here that we're going to taste with you virtually. We do have pickup kits for you guys available if you'd like to taste these wines alongside of us. And we hope you enjoy your September selections, and we just want to thank you for being a wine club member with us. Thank you for seeing this time through with us. And we look forward to seeing everyone again soon, whether that's just small in person here or at a larger party in the future. So, Rob, what do we got? We have some exciting wines this quarter to share with everyone. And we wanted to really kind of dig deep and bring a few to the forefront.
All right, so this club for standard members is going to be a 1 white, 2 red club. And we're going to get started with the first white, which is our 2019 K3. We'll get a little bit about the name here in a little bit. But this one is a blend of Chardonnay, Petit Manseng, and Vidal Blanc. So this is an initial launch of this wine. This is something that we're definitely going to keep in our portfolio moving forward. A 3 great white blend like this. All stainless steel, no oak in this one, really bright, refreshing. We've done a little bit of tasting preemptively by our staff. This has become one of the new favorite wines around here for our staff, so hope you guys enjoy this one too. Let's give it a little pour here for both of us. We'll give it a little taste.
Yeah, we've always wanted to make a white wine blend like this. We actually wanted to do it with Viognier, but we've never really had enough fruit of these varietals to justify doing a single varietal wine of it and then make a blend like this as well. And given the great vintage, we had a lot of fruit and we're able to do this, and I think we're going to keep it in our repertoire going forward as we have new vines coming online. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this wine.
So let's get into this wine a little bit, give her a little swirl and a little sniff. Very aromatic. You definitely, initially, I get a lot of the Petit Manseng aromatics on this. The stainless steel Chardonnay that's in this is something that's new for us. We've never done a stainless steel Chardonnay that is in this blend, and that's something we're going to keep as part of this blend moving forward. But really, really fragrant on the nose. A lot of those Petit Manseng notes coming out, like I said. Some apple notes from Vidal Blanc also. So let's get this a little sipping. Right away from the good acidity on this, it's really, thirst quenching, really makes you salivate, really good when a hot summer day like today as we're filming this. This would be really good also because of that really good minerality in this from the Vidal Blanc and the stainless steel Chardonnay to pair really well with oysters, seafood, or just have it, on its own because it is really thirst quenching.
Really great balance to this wine with these 3 varietals, complementing each other. Good acidity, good depth, a lot of minerality. This is a great wine. It's one of my favorite whites I think we've ever made here at the winery.
Yeah, I mean, just doing all these varieties, stainless, with no oak influence, really showcases what these varieties are about, and they really have married well together. And like Kirk said, we would have liked to put Viognier and done this all vinifero, but I don't think this wine really lacks anything with the Vidal Blanc that's blended in this. I really think it adds some nice grassy notes, lemongrass notes to this wine too, that really add to the overall complexity of this wine to really make it a really good white wine for us moving forward. So
yeah, and as our vineyard blocks continue to mature, Vidal Blanc is really a constant year in and year out. A constant star, and we really learned how to work with it and make it a dry white wine, holding its good acidity. It's one that year in and year out in Virginia has proven to be a winner. The name doesn't have a lot of recognition on the international market stage, but I think it's one that's doing very, very well here, and I'm happy and proud to put that name and that varietal in this blend.
Yeah, I mean, usually if somebody is familiar with Vidal Blanc, they know it because they've had a nice wine from Ontario in Canada. But it's a hybrid variety. It does well, and most of the Mid-Atlantic states are doing it. In the upper Midwest, and those wine regions are doing this variety too. And being a thicker skinned variety, it just holds up well to the humidity that we have. We've done it late harvest here. I've even done an orange wine with it. You know, most people know it in our wines because it's the primary grape in our Saumur Blanc, our off-dry white. So it does have some versatility here. It's done dry with these varieties, and you know, like I said, I think it's married well with the stainless steel fermented Chardonnay and the Petit Manseng, which we always do in stainless and don't put any oak on ours. And we're really happy with the way this one has come together. So
absolutely. So you may be asking yourself, K3, what does the name mean? So my name is Kirk, if you don't know, and I was actually the third. My father was the second, so I'm the third in a line. And growing up, my parents always used to call me K3 because people would call the house or call out for my father versus me, and so it was a way for them to kind of delineate who they were referring to when they called out the name. So we just thought it was a fun name to have, and really for those who know our Santa Barbara project and have been out there or tried some of those wines, we actually have a K3 Red. And the name actually originated out there because we wanted to do a GSM blend, Grenache Syrah Mourvèdre, and so we decided to call it K3 with the 3 varietals and my name K3. And then we wanted, we talked about making a counterpart and a white blend as well. And so we thought it would be fun to have the red coming from Santa Barbara and GSM, and then doing the white in Virginia with varietals that do very, very well here in the state. So that's sort of the origin of the name. It's 3 varietals, and it came from my parents growing up, calling out my name for that. So, but I think it's kind of fun to have branding that is very similar, being from both of our bicoastal entities. Again, it's another connection between the 2 brands, and a fun story to tell, and it's fun to kind of have these wines together on a table. And for those who are adding on to their wine club selections, we've brought a bunch of this over from the West Coast, so you can add the K3 Red on, and if you have done that as well, you're in for a treat because it's a great wine, and it's also done with a screw top on it as well, just like the white here in Virginia.
it's actually my favorite of our West Coast Reds, if that does anything for anybody.
I just love GSM blends,
Yeah,
Chateauneuf de Pape and the Rhone varietals, and you can do them very well in Santa Barbara. So it's been one of our more popular ones out there, and one that we're growing more production of to be able to kind of get out a little bit more, and hopefully bring a little bit here to Virginia for you guys to come and taste. And we wanted, hopefully we were thinking about having a pickup party, and we were hoping that things would be better by now so we could pour this for you guys. But that wasn't the case. So hopefully if you're adding it on, you get to enjoy this wine as well, and open them both at a dinner party and have some fun. So, all right, if you want to go ahead and hit pause on your camera, and we'll queue up the next wine for you. Enjoy the K3, and we'll be back with the next wine. Cheers. All right, welcome back. We have our next wine club selection for you. And Rob, what do we have here?
So we're going to start with the first of our 2018 Reds that you're all going to get in your wine club. We haven't released any the 18 Reds of the wine club yet. We have released this in the tasting room along with our 2018 Norton. So as you've come in, you'll start seeing some changeover in our regular tasting lineup and our flight. So with the 2018 vintage, everybody knows that was a real challenging vintage for us as winemakers and winery owners here in Virginia. It just was a really wet season from start to finish. And so that always lends itself for the vineyards to struggle to get to full ripeness. So I think across the board, you're going to see that there is quality in these wines. We really cut back on our production to try and keep our quality high. So we made less wine in 18 to keep the level of quality in our wines high. And I think you'll see that these wines are still drinking well. They're not quite as big and bold and as heavy as the 2017s. I would say these probably lend themselves to be a little more European in style, where 17 was a really great vintage, but maybe lend themselves to be a little bit more New Garden style. But these wines are clean, they're still complex, good acidity, and I think this Cab Franc is no different. So
yeah, and speaking of that, if I can brag a little bit about our winemaker Rob, what I love about his approach, and I think it's vital to have that here in Virginia, is not taking the same formula and driving that every single year for each wine. When we have such vintage variation in Virginia, you really have to look at everything as a blank canvas year in and year out, and sometimes take a different stylistic approach ultimately to get to where you need to go to make a great wine. And I think Rob is one of the best to be able to do that. He knows how to kind of adapt to what Mother Nature gives us, and I think that's why you see such a consistency and quality in our wines from year in and year out, regardless of some of that vintage variation. So we're super proud of that, and proud of him for working hard and really getting creative and coming up with those solutions. So
Yeah, I mean, you know, unlike brewing, there's a lot of similarities between brewing and winemaking. You're not going to be making wine, especially on the East Coast and in Virginia, using a recipe and doing the same things right here. So with that said, let's go ahead and get in this wine a little bit. I'll go a little swirl and a little sniff. Right away, I get a little bit more herbal quality, a little bit of like a black tea note aromatically to this wine. It's not as quite free-forward on the nose as a 17, but there is some cherry notes on it also. You know, I think this lends itself to be more Chenin-esque in style for those who have had Cab Franc in the Loire Valley. Let's go ahead and give her a taste. I mean, you know, right away up front, good acidity, really, you know, bright fruit on the palate, like a little bit of sour cherry, but still it's got some volume to it, really smooth on the finish, which I think is really a signature of my winemaking style. You know, the finishes are never biting, never rough, pretty smooth on the finish, and this wine's no different from any of those. You know, it's Cab Franc. It has those inherent herbal qualities, and you know, it's our lightest bodied red. I mean, there are some tannins there. They're really soft, supple tannins, though. Really light on the palate, so you know, really easy drinking on its own. I would pair this with like pork tenderloin, a stuffed pork chop. I think some pork dish would be a really good pairing to go along with this style Cab Franc for sure. So.
yeah, one like this in a lighter vintage like 18, and you know, it can be a great food wine. It can really be versatile with a lot of different things across the board because it's not so overly powerful and tannic and deep dark in color. So you know, that lighter style can really open up a lot of the food pairings and complements to a wine like this.
Yeah, I mean, here for us at Paradise Springs, Cab Franc is always like our number one or number two selling red.
Yep.
We make close to 1,000 cases of normal vintage of this wine, and it sells within 12 months. So I think you all are liking what we're doing with our Cab Franc, and I don't think this one will be any different. Granted, it's going to be a little bit different from some of the previous vintages, but that's, you know, that's the way it is. That's the reality of making wine in Virginia. You know, as long as the quality is there, things are clean, and you know, there's going to be some difference in the wine, but this is pretty inherent to the bottle that is Cab Franc. So,
and as Rob mentioned, this is one of the first 18 wines to come out in the tasting room. So if you haven't been back to the tasting room yet and kind of experienced what we're doing and what we're coming up with everything in COVID, we're actually running a tasting flight, and for Wine Club members, it's only $5, and we're doing them out of smaller plastic cups in a flight rack. And it's cool. We've filmed one of these videos with a QR code that people can queue right up on their phone and sit out in the field and actually do a tasting with us of those wines. So if you haven't come back yet and tried that, it's kind of a new way that, you know, the winery's adapting to COVID and technology. And this 18 Cab Franc's one of the first to go on it. So come back and give it a try.
yeah, scan your QR code and drink with me in the field. Sounds like a good time. So.
You know, I think this time has challenged us all to really think outside the box, and I'm proud of our team of what we've done, and even, you know, being able to talk to you today and deliver our Wine Club selections like this. So hopefully we'll keep getting creative, and as we kind of work to get back to normal, we look forward to seeing everyone. So enjoy the Cab Franc. Anything else to add, Rob?
No, I think we're good on this one, and we got another 18 red for you next. So go ahead and hit pause, enjoy the rest of this Cab Franc, and then we'll get started here in a little bit with the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, welcome back. We have one more Wine Club selection that we're going to go through with you guys today. And Rob, tell us a little bit about this last wine.
So this next red is also 2018. This one has not been available yet in the tasting room, so you guys are getting first access to it. This is the Barossa. So we've had this on and off for a few vintages, starting way back with the 2013. We did have a 17, and then we made this wine again in 2018. It is, you know, 37% Cab Sauv and 37% Merlot and 25% Syrah. It's always had Syrah in it over the years. Cab Sauv has been in most of the blends when we've done it, and Merlot's a new addition to this vintage. The Merlot was pretty good, and we had a good bit of it. So during the blending trials of coming up with this blend for this wine, we thought it worked well with these other two varieties. So.
Yeah, Rosso, really was born out of us in that inaugural vintage. We had some Sangiovese, Syrah, and extra Cab Sauv that we didn't really know what to do with, and so it really worked well together as a blend, and we thought we would put it together and just came out with this, and really expected it to kind of be a one-off, just a one-time thing. And really what's happened is over the years, as we've had some extra quality fruit and wine come in, we do blending trials, and in the right year when we say, wow, this works, we make a Rosso. And so in the past it's had Tannat and a lot of different fun stuff. So we're happy to have this back again. For those who recognize the name, some of you, it's been a fan favorite with over the years, and hopefully you'll enjoy this one as well. And it'll be back again. I can't say when, whether it's this vintage or not, but I'm sure we'll have some wine in the cellar eventually that will make a Rosso again. So enjoy it, while we have it, but because we don't know when it's coming again. So
yeah, one of the things I like that about this wine is that, on and off over the years, we've always brought in Cabernet Sauvignon fruit, and we used to make a varietal Cabernet Sauvignon. We stopped that a couple years ago, and this is the last Cab Sauv that we've had in the building over the past couple years, and it's in this wine. So for those of you who've liked our Cab Sauv varietal in the past, and when it's been the bigger component in our red blends, I would say this wine's geared for you guys. So let's go ahead and give it a swirl and a sniff. Right away, I think aromatically, the first thing that I get from this is a little bit of smokiness from the Syrah on this. And then you get those red fruits that jump out from the Cab Sauv and Merlot. And even though we were saying a little bit earlier in the video that the 2018 vintage definitely had its challenges, Merlot did fairly well for the vintage. It comes in as early as any red variety, and came in a little bit sooner before we got into some of the heavier rain at the end of that vintage. So I think it really lends a lot of fruit to this wine, aromatically anyway. So
you almost get a little like a black coffee grind in the nose as well, just kind of that deeper, darker.
I mean, really good structure with this wine. The tannins are good. They're not astringent, not green. Really coats your entire palate. The Syrah for this came in early too. It's a small little patch of Syrah, but the Williams-Gat Vineyard, and it, the crop loads on its low. It ripens pretty quickly. This came in pretty early too. A lot of good acidity from that Syrah, a little bit of that smokiness. Just really helps with the structure of this wine, along with the Cab Sauv. Really coat your mouth with a lot of really good tannins, and really help balance out the darker fruit notes in this wine and the acidity also. So
this is a big wine. How long would you say you could lay this down for if you've got a cellar and want to buy some extra stuff?
Yeah, I mean, definitely 3 to 5 years this would age well. It could even go a little bit past that probably. The wine's very clean, really pretty well structured, good acidity, and those tannins in the acidity are what are gonna, some of the components that allow your wine to age well when it's cellared. As long as it's clean, there's nothing else funky going on with it, and there's none of that in this wine. Of course, alcohol is another player that helps the ethanol level, helps the wine age, but this, with its good acidity and its ample amount of tannins, will allow this wine to age for a few years, even out of a tougher vintage. So
yeah, and if you open the bottle tonight, and have a decanter laying around, I'd throw this in a decanter, get some air on it, and really let it smooth out as you kind of enjoy it over the evening. I think it'll do some justice to it.
Yeah, I agree. I think
really smooth out.
At least pop the cork a couple hours before you're going to drink it, or decant it. I think some air in this wine will allow. And when I'm making the wines here at Better Springs, I really make what's called a very reductive anaerobic style winemaking. I keep oxygen away from the wine at all costs, at all steps in the process. And what is one thing that really allows our wines to age well, even in a tougher vintage like this. I think any of these wines are going to have a little bit more shelf life than the normal Virginia wine, and it's that's by design. And even a tougher vintage like this, it's not going to quite age as well as the 17s or 19s will, because they were stellar vintages for Virginia. I think even these 18s will hold on to a little bit, not quite as long as those vintages. So
yeah, when you talk about case production on this one as well, we only made, I think, around 450 cases or so, I believe. And, the wine club will lead up, half of that just going out in shipment. So this wine won't be around for that long, so you guys have access to it. It's not one we typically release, in the tasting room. So really, this is a wine we made for you guys, and hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably by the end of the year, you better come in before New Year's to get this one. I don't think this one's going to stay around very long. I knew this wine has quite a following as far as our customers and our wine club for the Rosso. So
Absolutely.
I know Ed will be happy it's back on the list. So.
Cool. Anything else to add about the Rosso?
No, I think that about wraps that one up. So.
Great. Well, again, I want to thank you guys so much for staying with us during this time. It's truly an unprecedented time, and for Virginia Wine and for us, and we're coming up with the best ideas that we can. Our staff is working extra hard to deliver the Paradise Springs experience to you. We have our food truck up and running here at the property with our new chef Stefan. We started to add some sandwich items to that and some fun things coming, and we've been brainstorming some fun events for the fall that we can do safely and socially distanced, and still have some really cool food and wine interaction pairings and experiences here at the property. So we hope you'll come back and see us, and whether it's now or in the future, whenever you feel safe. So hope everyone is enjoying some great wines at home. We're still doing delivery and shipping and all over the country, wherever you are. So thanks again for really staying with us during this time, and we'll keep making good wine. We're setting off to harvest here later this week, hopefully starting, and we'll start on making those next wines that we'll see you guys with years down the line. So just thanks again, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah,
Cheers.
Cheers.